On January 2nd, we lost a great friend with the passing of Barry Liben. Barry meant so much to so many people. First and foremost, he is missed by his family and friends, and we are joined by his wife tonight, Cindy Liben. He is missed by the employees of Tsel Travel, where he was president and CEO of a major company, travel company, that included his beloved Big Blue. Barry is missed by former members of the Beitar Youth Movement, where Barry was Rosh Hanhaga Artzit. And here, Barry will be sorely missed by the entire American football community, where he served in recent months as chair of Friends of the IFL, and of course, the teams he sponsored for 3 decades, the Big Blue Jerusalem Lions. This evening, we will hear from some of the people closest to Barry, and we will also hear several tributes from those who could not be here with us this evening. We will also hear directly from Barry by way of his spirited video pep talks that he sent to the team. Before we begin, I want to ask all of you to rise for a moment of silence in the memory of Barry Liben, Zichrono Livracha. Thank you.
Thank you.
One of the great players in the early days of Big Blue was quarterback Ron Dermer.
In the second half, are we going this way? It's our choice. Our choice. Danny, come in. Hurry up.
Come on down.
Dermer is now the Israeli ambassador to the United States and cannot be with us today, but he sent this letter in Barry's memory. As a player for Big Blue, I had heard about Barry well before I met him. I knew he was our team sponsor, the New York Giants travel agent, and a larger-than-life figure who would always be there to support us and to support football in Israel. Beyond football, his friend of many decades, Steve Leibowitz, also told me of Barry's great Jewish pride and the Zionism, which was so central to his life. But it was only after I met Barry that I could truly appreciate what a special person he was. He immediately struck me not only as a real mensch, but also as a man of true humility, who exhibited the highest virtue that the Beitar movement he loved tries to instill in all its followers, Hadar. May the memory of Barry Liben, a proud son of the Jewish people and a great champion of the Jewish state, continue to be a blessing. And may his family and loved ones be comforted among the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. Signed, Ron Dermer, Israel's ambassador to the United States. At this time, let's hear directly from Barry in one of his messages to his team. And let me warn you that Barry wasn't always politically correct.
Big Bluers, congratulations on the crushing victory over the losers for Petah Tikva. You did a lot better than Big Blue did in Giant Stadium yesterday, losing to the lowly Jets. I congratulate you all on victory one under your brilliant and handsome coach, Gadi Madad. Now on to the Rebels. I know it's going to be a big game, so get yourself psyched up and destroy these infidels. Welcome to the new members of the team that came from the Kings. We welcome you to the Big Blue Lions, the greatest team in history of the league. So go up, and most of all, a happy Hanukkah to all of you. I hope the holiday brings you everything in life that you want. So rest up, eat plenty of latkes, and go out and destroy the rebels, and remember they're infidels.
That is Barry in a nutshell. Another Big Blue great player cannot be with us today. Eli Groner was a Hall of Fame player who became Director General in the Prime Minister's office, and he sent this message. Barry Liben was the rare individual who meant so many things to so many different people. There are countless people over the years for whom the AFI has been a central part of their lives, but there is a very small number of people for whom which the AFI would not exist or would not resemble what it is today. If they had not been there for us, Barry Liben is one of that small handful of people. It is a testament to Barry that so few people who have derived so much pleasure from the league even knew him. Barry did not do everything he did for the AFI for the glory. He did not do it for the fame. He did not do it for the money. He didn't even do it out of his friendship with Steve Leibowitz. Barry did it because of his passion for football, his passion for Israel, and his desire to fuse those two loves of his to give thousands of Israelis over the years an indescribable joy. Barry did it the most noble of reasons, and for that we must never cease to appreciate what he has done for all of us. May his memory be blessed. When news of Barry's passing became known in Israel, several people in our community flew to the U.S. to attend the funeral and the Shiva at the Liben home. One of them played for Big Blue flag and tackle teams, coached Big Blue, and serves as vice president of the AFI. A close friend of Barry and the Liben family for more than a decade, Yona Mishan. Yona?
I didn't prepare because I decided I'm not going to. Sorry. I didn't prepare anything, which I could have. I didn't want to. I got a million things to say. I'm going to try not to cry, which you guys know I'm pretty good at crying. First of all, thank you, Steve, for getting me. Actually, it was Ellie Groen that got me onto Big Blue. What's important to me after I'm finished, hopefully within a minute, is all you players to understand what Big Blue really was. Big Blue, for decades now, is something that people know us all over. Anyone, I just was talking to Cindy in the car, in New York, if you're wearing a kippah, oh, you played for Big Blue. We're an icon, and it's something we have to respect. Barry was a close friend of ours and mine. One of the things I hated to ever say to him was, we lost, because he took it so seriously and it hurt him so much. But when we won, and in the old days we won a lot, and now, thank God, you guys, thanks to Gani and you new guys, are doing that again. It was so important to him. I'm going to miss the times we sat and heard and talked politics and the stories of the great old Beitar days and the arguments of what's true and what's not true, and to know about them sticking up for Israel and for the Jewish people, which they did, and a lot of the stuff I definitely can't repeat, but I'm happy to know. I guess I'll finish up. Barry, I'm going to miss you a lot. You were a close, very close friend. You were always there for us. We loved you a ton. Thank you for, even though you knew you shouldn't have, thank you for helping us try and open a bar, me and Gani. It was a hell of a job for all of us Big Blue players. He said, I'm telling you don't do it, but if you want to do it, we'll do it anyway. Thank you for that. Thank you for the great times. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for pulling us out of a hole almost every year, years and years ago, when we needed you. Love you. Cindy, you're Barry as far as I'm concerned. Without you, there is no Barry. We all know that. And I'm not going to miss the morning breakfasts with you. And Ilana's not going to miss, because we're going to come and we're going to visit and we're going to bother you. And you know that. And we love you. And guys, keep up the good work. Kick everyone's ass. God bless. Am Yisrael Chai. Like Elohim.
Before we hear from our next speaker, let's hear what Barry had to say about him.
Shalom, Big Bluers. I'm glad that Coach Gani Medad has returned to Israel. I hope the soft life here in 2 weeks in America, stuffing his face with expensive food and living the high life in 5-star hotels, has not weakened his resolve. Obviously not, because he came back and led you to a resounding victory over the losers from Beersheba, something like 40-0. And I understand that our incredible defense didn't give up a touchdown in that win. So kol hakavod to the team for an astounding win, and kol hakavod to Coach Gani Medad. We all know the real brains behind that family is the little baby. Anyway, looking to the future, I expect other further great results from you as we roll our way into the playoffs. And thank you very much for the great team video you sent for the marriage of my youngest daughter, Rebecca, to a gentleman named Matthew Levy, who's a nice boy, but he played football when he was young, and most of his brains were mashed, so there's not much left of him to talk about. But maybe we'll send him over to play offensive tackle or defensive nose guard, because he's got the perfect size and brains for that job.
Thank you.
And there's Rebecca the bride. And there's Matt, what's left of him mentally. So go on and win the next big game. And I don't know when the playoffs are, but we'll try to get there because Cindy and I are planning a visit. Shalom uvracha.
Our next speaker is Big Blue coach Gani Medad. Gani. Gani grew up in Shiloh and knew little to nothing about football. After the Army, he went to the U.S., spending a lot of time with his Uncle Barry and Aunt Cindy. That's when Gani discovered football. Barry invited him on Big Blue Giants fan road trips and to games in Barry's box in Giant Stadium. A football fanatic was born, and when he returned to Israel, Gani became a player for Big Blue and is now the coach who has led the team to 3 straight titles. It's my pleasure to welcome Gani Medad.
Well, as my great teacher Yona, I haven't prepared anything, so I'm just gonna talk on top of my mind. Usually when I'm in front of you guys, I usually curse and yell, so I try to keep it as a minimum in terms of that. And most of you knew Barry, and you're gonna learn Barry from obviously from the videos and the stories, and his memory will live longer, hopefully, than we will live in this and be part of this team, because he's the heart and soul of this team. And when I started coaching, Barry was the face of, when I saw a team, I said, this a team that I will build will be in the Bachazon Shel Barry. And what we tried to build is, first of all, a fighting family. All right, Barry believed in family, Barry believed in fighting, and Barry believed that the first and most important thing in life is family. And not necessarily family by blood, but family or friends you turn to family. And what we tried to get together over here is a bunch of guys and turn it into a fighting family. And winning, obviously, was very important, Barry. And also, Arvut Adadit. I don't know how to translate that, but all the guys on this team knows that if something goes wrong or if something needs to happen, you can always turn around and somebody from the team will be there behind you to support you. And good times, bad times, any rainy days, sunshine, we support each other and we look back and there's a fellow Big Blue behind us to support us. And since we knew that Barry died, I did kind of a lousy job in terms of not putting, like, I have 2 different griefs. My personal grief that we all dealing with, and then the team grief. And I did a lousy job in terms of, since I got back, and getting in front of you and telling you about Barry, first of all, because it's tough to figure out that he's not here anymore, and he's not going to send us any more video, and he's not going to yell at me anymore, and he's not going to call me a retard. Which is very tough, because I need somebody sometimes to slap me, in the back of the head and back to reality. But Barry was Big Blue. And then when I look at you guys, I see Barry. And that's what's important to me, and that's my vision. And that's what makes me comfort. To see you guys and to see Barry and each and every one of you guys, all right, wearing that jersey, wearing that Big Blue logo. And that helped me out, but I did a lousy job in terms of telling you guys who Barry was and how this was important to him. And winning was important to him, family was important to him, and you guys are doing that great so far. And I hope you guys are going to keep on doing that. And you guys are going to wear in your helmets the stickers on his initials, and we're going to give them out later on. And I wear my Shtei Gadot that Barry gave me 6 years ago. He's always with me. And I hope Barry's going to be with you not only on the helmets when you're playing games, but also on your daily basis. And I take upon myself the mission and that you will know Barry Liben not only in terms of football, but I take it upon myself to tell you stories and keep the legend as far as it can go. I love you guys. I love Cindy. I love the family. We'll always be there for you.
That box in Giant Stadium, he shared it with a former New Yorker, or with a fellow New Yorker, Ira Kleinman. Partly due to Barry's convincing manner, Ira has himself become a sponsor of the Israeli men's national flag team. This is part of a note sent by Ira. I've known Barry and his family for almost 30 years through our beloved New York Football Giants and through our Fantasy Football League. We shared so many good times at Giant Stadium, starting with a tailgate that grew and got better every year. Exactly the opposite of our beloved Giants, who seem to be getting worse every year. The last conversation I had with Barry was only a few days before he passed away. Neither one of us wanted to renew our Giants suite for next year, but neither one of us wanted to not to renew it either. Although they were bad, we still enjoyed the time with our ever-expanding family of children and grandchildren. His last words to me were, "We will talk about it next season. Love you." Barry got me involved in a number of organizations in Israel, including the Israeli Football League and the Duvdevan Foundation, among others. Israel was at the center of Barry's heart, and he helped me move it to the center of mine. My wife, Yael, comes from an Israeli family, and most of her family is still in Israel, so it was very natural for us to get more deeply involved in Israel, and Barry helped us make that happen. Barry, of all the good that you have done, the people that you have helped, and the incredible love that you have that you have for Israel and your amazing family means that you will never really be gone. However, you will really be missed. I love you. Signed, Ira Kleinman. Over the years, Barry sent his Big Blue team several videotapes meant to inspire his players to victory. He did so in his own unique style.
Okay, Big Bluers, this is it, Lions. This is what you've been waiting for a year, to take revenge on the Pioneers. This is where we kick butt. Go out there and show them what Big Blue is all about. I know you can do this. Go out there and show them where the real men are. I want you to destroy the Pioneers. Show them what Big Blue's made of. Show them the legacy of the only true great championship team of the Tackle League of Israel. I expect nothing less than victory. Destroy them, squash them, defeat them like the mice that they are. Show them the men you are. Total victory, total annihilation, strength and honor. Go Big Blue.
That sounds like our Israeli Vince Lombardi. Wow. The man who knew Barry longest in our community is AFI President Steve Leibowitz. They met in Beitar when they were both in their teens and were close friends for over 50 years. It's my pleasure to introduce AFI President Steve Leibowitz.
Those were dark years for football fans in Israel from 1974 until 1978. Oh, sure, I was very happy fulfilling my dream of living in Israel after making Aliyah just 2 weeks out of college. My decision to make Aliyah, steeped in Zionist activism in the ranks of Beitar youth movement, inspired and led by Barry Liben. We were teens when we met. My Aliyah was a success with a good job and new friends, but something was missing. In addition to our mutual love of Jabotinsky and the State of Israel, Barry and I also shared a passion for American football in general and the New York Giants in particular. So what does one do when one lives in Israel in the 70s with no football broadcasts, no internet, no US newspapers, in fact, no sports information until 2 days after the fact when you could get a peek at the sports pages of the Jerusalem Post and read old results? Every football season I was overcome with the feeling of longing. Barry Liben came to the rescue. After becoming the owner of Tzell Travel, Barry fed my hunger for football in the best possible way. With the advent of the VTR machine, he began taping Giants games, giving them to the next customer flying to Israel. I would then drive to the airport to retrieve the treasure of Giants football. By the time I got it home, it was usually at least a full day or more since the game was played. It didn't matter because I had no way of knowing the score. To reward our friendship and mutual love of football in Israel, Barry began flying me into New York every year to see a Giants game. This went on for nearly 3 decades. I stayed at the Liben's Livingston home in New Jersey, becoming like family with Cindy and the kids. And after Barry formed Big Blue Travel, specializing in flying Giant fans to away games, I was treated to road games in cities including New Orleans and San Francisco. This was quite a treat for someone living on an Israeli salary. With Barry's help, and also eventually with the help of New England Patriots owner Robert Kraft, I got to attend 3 Giant Super Bowls in Tampa, Phoenix, and Indianapolis. In 1988, redemption began. An armed forces satellite dish at the building where I worked led me and friends to create Sports Club where NFL games could be seen. American sport fanatics flooded the place, prompting Danny Gwertz and I to create a touch football league that's grown into what is now the AFI. I contacted Barry, and Tzell Travel was confirmed as the first sponsor in our league. And then they changed the name of his team to Big Blue. 10 years later, the league had grown to over 30 teams. It was out of control. There were few fields in those days and no lights on the fields. The lack of available places to play was a constant problem. The solution began in 1998 when an AFI Big Blue player who worked as a concierge in the King David Hotel in Jerusalem recognized New England Patriots owner Bob Kraft and asked the guest if he knew that there was football in Israel. Mr. Kraft replied that he did not and said that he would like to be in touch with the guy in charge. I called Barry to consult on the proper approach, and he said to me, "Go big. You need a football field." I located a city-owned, largely unused and abandoned former soccer field in the northern end of Jerusalem Soccer Park. I went to see the Jerusalem mayor at the time, who was Ehud Olmert. He said that if I brought a donor to develop the field, it would become the home of American football in Israel. I put the plan together, including an artist's rendition. I wrote to Mr. Kraft and said how much I would like to have the opportunity to meet him. He invited me to come to Boston, where his offices were located before the Patriots moved to Foxborough. I could not make that trip on my own. First of all, I couldn't afford it. And secondly, I was too nervous to present the plan to Mr. Kraft by myself. Barry again to the rescue. He flew me to New York, spent the day convincing me that I must follow his lead at the meeting and keep my mouth shut or risk blowing this big chance. We then flew together to Boston. It was Barry who set the tone at the meeting by presenting the vision. The meeting went well, and Kraft Family Stadium was created less than a year later in 1999 in Jerusalem. Barry loved to remind me how I almost blew it at the meeting with Kraft with a stupid comment. The fourth person at the meeting, you see, was Kraft attorney Richard Karolitz. I misread his age and position and asked whether he was one of Mr. Kraft's sons. Richard was only about 15 years younger than Mr. Kraft, who was clearly surprised at my dumb question. Barry quickly got the meeting back on track. Bottom line is that my relationship with Mr. Kraft may never have flourished were it not for the backing, business smarts, and decades-long long friendship of Barry Liben. Barry, I love you, my friend, and will remember you for the rest of my days. Now I'd like to read a note that Mr. Kraft sent to this meeting and to the Liben family. To the family of Barry Liben, Zichrono Livracha, it is with heavy heart that I write to express my sincerest condolences on the untimely passing of Barry Liben, beloved husband to Cindy, father to Michael, Daniela, Rebecca, and their spouses, along with Barry and Cindy's 7 beautiful grandchildren. While I imagine no words can bring comfort during a time of such grief, I want you to know that you have been in my thoughts and prayers. My first recollection of Barry was back in 1998 when he joined Steve Leibowitz. We're hearing the other side of the story now. We joined Steve Leibowitz for the initial presentation on building Kraft Family Stadium. It was during that time when Barry convinced me to become a sponsor by his tachlis and his belief of a chalom gadol to build a world-class sports facility in Israel. Although it was apparent Barry and I did not share the same allegiance to football teams on a national level, since I would see him in his suite at MetLife Stadium when the New England Patriots played the New York Giants, we did share a love for football on an international level. Barry's sponsorship of AFI teams every year since its founding in 1989 speaks to his ambassadorship for the game of football worldwide. So many athletes around the globe have been the beneficiaries of his philanthropic efforts, and his dedication to the American football community in Israel is unsurpassed. He was a pioneer in building Big Blue into one of the largest NFL fan trip companies, and perhaps even more importantly, his Big Blue Lions are the reigning champions of the Kraft Family IFL with their third straight Israel Bowl title. Above all, Barry was a dedicated family man, a true mensch, and a great Beit Torah Jew who shared his love for Israel with so many around the world. The American football community in Israel has lost a great champion, but Barry has left behind a legacy for all to be proud. As we mourn Barry's passing and begin to heal, I wish you comfort in the memories you enjoyed together and the support of many people who loved him, especially those in the Israel Football League. On behalf of my family, may God console you among the other mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. Hamakor yinachem etchem v'toch shar avei le'Tzion ve'Yerushalayim. With deepest sympathy, bebracha, Robert Kraft, Am Yisrael Chai.
We turn again to Barry and his one-of-a-kind messages to Big Blue.
To the great Big Blue team, it's Barry. Sorry I can't be with you for this great barbecue. I'm sure it's going to be amazing. Look what's in front of me, guys. Trophies. Past glory trophies of the Big Blue dynasty that used to be and that we have to return to. Now, guys, I know it's a little tough in Israel right now. Climate's a little rough. Our cousins, the Arabs, are giving us a little trouble. This is where the country turns to, not Bibi, not the IDF, but to Big Blue, the greatest team in Israel sports history, where our millions of fans take pride and glory in the performance of Big Blue's team in Israel. This is where they turn to us to show greatness again, to repeat these trophies of the past. So eat to your full and go out there and practice. And this year, bring the trophy back to where it belongs, my closet. You need to bring me another trophy, guys. So eat your full, rejoice, train hard, and under the guidance and greatness of our new coach, Gani Meidad, trained in New York by me, bring us back to the greatness of once was, and win the trophy this year and bring it back to Big Blue, the greatest team that ever played in the Israeli League. Thank you, my friend. Shalom, shalom.
Barry Liben has passed away, but his memory will always remain strong in the hearts and minds of Big Blue players, and indeed of the entire American football community in Israel. We can also imagine that Barry will be watching Big Blue games from the skybox above. That brings us to the end of our program tonight, and may God comfort all those who loved Barry Liben.
אני מדבר בעברית, היא מבינה את העברית שלי יותר טובה מהאנגלית שלי. תודה רבה על הכל, דיברנו לפני כן, אנחנו מדברים על הכל, על הכל, על הכל. מהיום כל שחקן בביג בלו ישים על הקסדה שלו מזכרת של ברי מהמשפחה שלנו, משפחת ביג בלו, משפחת ליבן, ומתנה קטנה מאוד. מהקבוצה, לך, תודה על הכל. 67 גם בתור ציוני, שנת שחרור ירושלים, וגם הגיל שברי נפטר. תודה רבה.
Before we officially end tonight's program, I know that Barry would very much appreciate if we all sang Hatikva. Everyone please rise. Thank you very much for coming.